Hi guys, FrostFangs here, back again, of course, with another Paladins video. We're on the PTS for the Season 6 update a couple of days before the showcase. Very rare that we ever have this, but yeah, this time around everything is up a couple of days before they probably talk about it. I'm going to go through the new champion, NYX, first, and then we'll do the skins. Probably going to avoid balance and save that for a different video when the patches are available, just so I don't get anything too wrong. But yeah, stick around, it's going to be a long video, hopefully. Haven't gone through any of it myself just yet, it's going to be my first time looking through it, first time for you, I imagine, as well. But the new champion, NYX, I imagine is how you say it, Queen of the Abyss, as you can also tell from the aesthetic, is the new frontline coming in Season 6 with 4850 HP. Her left click here is Realm Breaker. I will also show it in the target practice, of course, which seems to be a melee here. Punch and center energy in a 5-hit attack, dealing 125 quickly for the first 3 and 375 slowly for the last 2. The chain resets then if you miss a hit or if you don't fire. It deals extra damage if they're close to you and has no ammo or reload. So it is just straight up like a melee punch ability, I imagine, similar to what we've got with Terminus, but obviously a little bit different, and also has a passive here. Get basically built-in rejuvenate up to 20% when you're near an objective, or just a flat 10% if you're playing like a TDM or a map without an objective. Moving on to the right click, Rift Slash. Fire a projectile that leaves behind an abyssal rift when it explodes, detonates on contact with an enemy or a wall, and after reaching max travel distance it does the same thing. Hold down the activate button to channel the ability. This is kind of hard for me to visualize, we'll see in the target practice, but it's a lot of info here. From reading through it pretty quickly here, it just seems like a long range sticky bomb, basically. Kind of scales like a Grover axe, but yeah, there it is. If you want to read through it, just a bunch of numbers. Really, it does reduce movement speed on the people you hit, and also deals damage in sort of a range or that's kind of small. Then for her Q, Abyssal Fortress, 12 seconds on the cooldown. It's basically just a shield that's stronger the closer it is to you, up to 4.5k, and then gets weaker if you sort of place it further away, up to 90 units. Then we have her Air for All Presence, 11 seconds. You summon a poison aura for 6 seconds. It follows you, poisons enemies within 60 units for 5% of their max health over 6 seconds. Okay, and while it's active, any damage you take is stored and then dealt to you over 4 seconds with additional damage refreshing the duration. Then if you activate it again, you'll send out a chain up to 50 units that will pull people towards you and end the ability early. So not a movement ability, but very, very tanky and does a lot of stuff. A lot of her kit here seems to have a lot to it, more so than I was expecting, considering she is meant to be a tank and they're usually a little bit more straightforward. Then finally, for her ultimate, another really interesting ability here, Chaos at Nexus. You tear a rift into the abyss, you get CC immunity, you deal 100 damage every 0.5 within 50 units and pull people in, and after 2 pulses, you stomp, create an explosion, deal 600 and stun everyone for 2 seconds. We've also got some new UI stuff, I don't know if I mentioned that or not for the talents though. We'll check these out first and then the cards, and we'll go into the target practice and I'll actually show off, because in text form here it's a little bit hard to properly get how this will all combo. For the first one, Show of Force, pretty straightforward compared to the rest of her kit, but your Rift Slash, your right click, the sort of bomb thing, will knock back enemies if it hits and also result in the rift lasting 1 second longer. For the second one, Abyssal Breach, you get level 2 obviously. Enemies that pass through your fortress, which is the little sort of shield you can throw down, are revealed and take bonus damage from you and your allies, and it also reduces the cooldown of it by 2 seconds. That seems better than the first one, but I suppose we'll see. It depends on the cards and everything, obviously. But for her last one, your F4 now Root, which is the sort of like poison thing where you can pull people in with your chains and stuff, but also only hits the first person and has increased range. None of these I'm in love with. We'll see in the target practice, but right now I like her kit way more than like her talents and what they add to it, I guess. For her skins, really quickly here, we have default NYX, we've got golden NYX, which is, I imagine, what you were sort of expecting with the idea. Crimson Queen, which is a nice sort of twist up. We've seen this sort of before with the Abyss theme and I like it. And then the Divine Matriarch, which is sort of turning her into an Azan thing. I don't know how to probably describe this, but I like it. They all look really cool. Here is her standard sort of pose, by the way. That's the default emote. I'm digging it. She seems like she's going to be one hell of a tool character in game. Killer Queen, which I haven't seen just yet. Yeah, pretty standard stuff for the emotes, I suppose. And for the pose, we've got one more. Moving on to our cards, this is where it can get kind of crazy. We've got buffs to your sort of shield. You can increase the fire rate when you pass through it. That could be massive for some characters. Increase movement speed, which is pretty big. And also slow enemies. It seems like there's a lot of power here in the cards already. You can reduce the health debuff it gets when you throw it at range. You can give it extra health. For the Royal Presence, which is the poison, you can give yourself extra radius, extra damage, which seems like it might be kind of strong, these two here. Extra pull strength, and then also a shield when you pull people. For the Rift Slash, which is sort of the bomb thing, you can increase the area of effect, the movement speed after you cast it. I really like some of the card arts here, by the way. I don't know if I said that already, but some of these look really quite nice. We've got extra slow strength and also extra speed that it travels at. Finally, for the armor and the weapon, some of these could be huge here. Extra health, which is super standard. I'm glad that we have that as sort of a consistent thing through so many characters. Extra sort of trigger distance for the passive on it, where you get the bonus damage. You can reduce the cooldown of the right click with the left click, and this one, which I think is kind of interesting, you can make it so you can miss a hit before the chain resets or increase the window by a tiny amount, but I think just having this card in here level 1 or 2 might be worth it. Sort of interesting ones though. Overall, seems solid. Just in case it wasn't kind of clear, I'm really excited for this update. Let's take a look at NYX. The front line, we'll just grab Show of Force and the first one. Here's a look at the inspect. Very subtle. I like that it doesn't move the camera because I always hate inspects like that. We'll do a little emote here so you can see it in third person. She looks quite goddamn cool. Similar to what I could have imagined maybe an Inara skin being at some point. Here is her sort of semi-melee. It isn't fully melee. You do have quite a bit of range on it. You do have to also kind of aim it. But I wasn't expecting it to have any range at all. I thought it was going to be just like a turn one. I much prefer this because this way you can sort of punch people at a bit of a distance even if it doesn't deal that much damage. But here is a look at the full chain with like the slam down extra there at the end. Don't know if it actually works exactly like it says that it does in the description. It seems like you actually only get the one extra hit right at the end, which you don't get otherwise, but you can just spam it. It's not like it's just doing the first punch over and over again, which is for some reason what I thought it would do. The damage isn't crazy on it, but obviously you are a tank, you're not meant to output a crazy amount, just a basic hit. You can see the range drop off is pretty fast. You can buff it with a card, but you do want to be super close to people because that is a really big difference on the damage output. We got the Q, which is not what I thought it was going to be. For some reason I thought it would be like a circle dome, but it's actually more of like an Atlas wall. Throw it down here. It does have different amounts of health. It does have an indicator for it too, which surprised me. And yeah, you get a lot of buffs with it, but without any like talent or cards, it's just a pretty standard sort of shield thing. Moving on to your right click here, we're going to try this one out. We can charge it. It does seem to give you some sort of indicator, and then you throw it. It's very different than I thought it was going to work, but I like it. The effect I'm not completely in love with. Deals sort of an aura damage and maybe sucks him in a bit, I'm not sure, and then blows up, but just a standard sort of ability you'd expect. It just works differently than I imagined, but it isn't anything crazy that we haven't really seen before. I do like it though. It does have sort of a specific thing that fits our character really well. For the F, if I go ahead and pop it here, you'll see that we have sort of an aura around us. The indicator is a little bit weird on it. Yeah, it deals tick damage, and that's kind of it. You also get some other buffs, obviously, and you can buff it out with the cards. But I think the main thing is if you reactivate it and someone's in range, you're going to yoink them towards you, but it doesn't seem to work. It's a PTS, I'm expecting it to be bugged, but you kind of get the idea of how it's meant to work from what I've just shown you, hopefully. Yeah, it does look cool. I like the idea of it. Like you can definitely imagine a combo where you're just like using all of these abilities. You have quite a lot of CC, but also just generally are a very aggressive tank. If you compare it to a lot of the other ones here, you're very not passive. You're doing everything kind of at the same time and just outputting as much damage as you can. The Q doesn't really fit the rest of her kit, to be honest, if I really think about it. I was honestly really expecting the Q to be sort of like a dome, like Octavia's thing, so you could use all of your abilities and have just like a really big ball of like damage and CC on like an objective, because she is meant to be, you know, a tank, but maybe they'll do something with the Q talent and make it something like that. That would be really cool. The Q just to me feels really weird, although maybe with the cards and you kind of rushing through it, maybe then it will fit and you're meant to be like a brawler character, so the Q is giving you speed and other buffs to sort of help that happen. Finally though, we do have the ultimate. Go ahead and pop it here. It does put us into third person. You do the 3 slams. That's not also what I was expecting, but I do like it. She doesn't really feel that reminiscent of any other frontline, to be honest. I thought she'd be more of a mesh of other characters like we tend to get with new releases, but she feels very unique. If I go for the F sort of ultimate here, you can imagine you're on the point, you get the 3 pulls in, big damage, big stun. It really is sort of like a Seris ability, but formed into like a tank and aura combo. I don't really know how to properly explain it, but yeah, very aggressive for a frontline these days. I could totally sort of imagine you pushing on a point and making yourself very annoying to be dealt with by the enemy team. You're just kind of throwing everything around, dealing constant damage to people. Don't even have to be that close, but it does help if you are. And the ultimate also really synergizes with that. The ultimate I like quite a lot. For some reason though, I thought you'd be able to walk around in the ultimate, but you're instantly just stuck there, and then you don't really have time to react and you're already hitting them with like a really big combo. The right click works with it, the F works with it, the Q, like I said, is the one ability that doesn't really make sense at the moment, but yeah, there we go. That was a look at NYX. And for everything else in this update, even though my voice is shredded, I'm going to cover it here in this one big long video. If you've been enjoying it, please do leave a like. I'd really appreciate it, because I don't feel like drawing this out into like 6 different things. I want to do it all in one big go, except for the balance, because I don't have the notes just yet. We'll start with the event pass here. We've got Doombringer Seris, yoinked straight out of goddamn World of Warcraft. I don't know how else to put it. I love the aesthetic, but it's not necessarily all that original, but I'm not complaining because I do very much like it. The music here going kind of hard. Then at level 3 we have Abyssal Outcry as a death stamp. We have Queen of Hearts spray there, which I do like quite a bit. Malevolent Matron Avatar, another spray here, going for very much sort of an evil Doom kind of Abyss theme. There's a recolor of a Seris skin, which I also like quite a lot. That one seems a little bit more original, but the color scheme on this is just straight up taking me to like different games and stuff. We have another avatar here, which is animated and looks not the best ever, but I don't dislike it. I think it looks fine. We have a death card, which I do kind of like. Definitely think it's the resolution on this that makes it look kind of weird. We have another spray, which I do like quite a bit. Another avatar here that looks like it could be an Andro skin in the future. Would love to see that. I feel like they've teased stuff before and they never make them into skins. That one would be sick. Then at level 20, Wings of Darkness Saati. This one goes hard. One of my favorite skins I've seen in a minute. Probably my favorite out of the set so far. Tentacle Between Lovers as a title. Don't know how I feel about about that one. A spray, booster, chest. I'm kind of going through these kind of quick. Another avatar, another freaking learning frame, which I do really like. This one looks cool. Not as good as the last one, but I do like it. Then you get another title, and then the Saati skin recolored, which I really like. And finally, the classic diamond chest. That is the event pass, although we do have other skins because they popped up here. Koga's one, Bloody Bakemono. I really like this one. It feels like a mix between the Talos skins, which is one of my favorites, and also sort of a mech theme going on here. This one looks really quite good, although it doesn't have a recolor. I did see one more on the loading screen earlier. I think it was Vivian Retro Vivian. I love this, man. They've done this one really well. I feel like I've seen this as like fan art or something before somewhere, but this is freaking great, man. I don't know how to properly explain it. The weapon, everything about this, I don't know how to properly explain it, but this has got to be one of my favorite skins I've seen in a really long time. Everything about this is so well put together. It was 400 crystals, so was the Koga one. I don't know if those are the final prices or not. Don't know if there are any more that I'm forgetting, but I'm gonna go ahead and equip them really quick so I can jump into the darker practice and show them off. So yeah, let's take a look at Koga. As far as I can tell, they are mostly his normal effects. They maybe have been tweaked a tiny bit, but they are either the exact same or very close to the same, which is perfectly fine because they match and they look good. So I can't really complain here at all. The only one I'm actually not sure about is the ultimate. I can't tell if this has been made more blue and orange compared to his default one because it's been so long since I've like seen the effect. I don't have it like memorized in my head, so that might be different, but everything else, as far as I can tell, is the same. The ultimate might be different though. Either way, it looks good. I like the skin. Do always forget I can do the third person toggle. Shouts to anybody at Evil Mojo that put in effort to make that happen, but this looks sick in third person, which you'll never see it as actually in a game. You'll never see that perspective of him, but he looks badass with the claws out kind of just slashing away, especially with the F effect on him. Looks really quite clean. Let's change into the Vivian. We'll go for booby trap and then just any setup. Doesn't really matter. Here's a look in third person. We'll pop the ultimate just to get it out, although might be a bit of a gameplay disadvantage because they do glow kind of red. The effects in this one, I'm also pretty sure, are just standard Vivian. But again, they imagine they look clean. They might be different, I can't even tell, but they look nice. Toggled back into first person. This skin looks clean. I really like it. I don't know how I feel about the aim down sights. That looks a little bit weird, but overall, really clean. The weapon is very different. The mines are different. Maybe all the effects are different. I just haven't noticed. I think the shield is the same though. So maybe they just changed the mine and the ultimate. The mine definitely is different. The weapon's different. The ultimate's different. So you can kind of call this a full skin. I don't even know what they would do with the shields to make it different to match, but I really hope we get more skins like this in the future because I really do like it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this one because I feel like it's pretty unique for the Paladins roster. We don't have many sort of retro themed skins like this, and yeah, I suppose pick it up if you want to show that you like it. I don't know. Or tell them on social media. Do whatever you fancy. For the two from the Battle Pass, we have Seris. I can't do the inspect again because it's broken, but here's a look at the left click. Oh my god, atomic looking effects. That's kind of like fantastic. I really like that. I didn't expect them to look like that for some reason, but they look really cool. Again, really match the skin. There is the F. This is honestly way more atomic and sort of bright looking than I was expecting. I thought they were going to go for like a standard sort of abyss theme, but this one looks very different from the other skins we've got so far, and that F is so goddamn nice. And you get out of it, it's a little bit too loud maybe if you're tryharding, but overall it's different on the effect side. Then finally for the ultimate, we'll check that there, pull them in, same sort of thing, just a lot of green sort of, yeah, atomic looking effects. I don't know how to properly describe it, not too much I can say. The effects in all these skins seem to be pretty straightforward. They're perfectly fine because I think these skins themselves do more than enough to carry it, that the effects don't need to be that crazy or anything, although that view from behind I'm not too sure about. That's also kind of atomic. We'll change and go into Saati. Then I'll do the recolors as well because why not? The weapon here, don't know why I was expecting it to look so different, but the effects with the purple coin look sick. We'll throw the decoy down. I mean, that's just standard Saati, which is not what I was expecting. Maybe they'll change that, I don't know. The ultimate, we'll just do that standard sort of Saati thing here, just in purple. Again, sort of following the theme of just sort of standard looking effects with maybe a bit of a tweak that make it fit the skin a bit better. We'll do the F here, just slightly purple Saati effects as far as I can tell, but again, I like it, no complaints. Saati never really has that much room for effects, but I feel like they've tweaked it to make it appropriate. And again, in third person, the skin absolutely kills it. Maybe it could look a little bit more vampire themed for the effects of things, maybe a bit more red, but it just looks great, man. I'm genuinely not even joking. I was just going through the characters to make sure that I didn't miss a skin, but the Andrew avatar I saw earlier that I was saying that I hope they turn into a skin like some of the other avatars we've had, it's already a skin. It's here in game. I just can't unlock it to show it to you. I imagine the effects are going to be pretty normal, but it's already in game. It's already here. It just for whatever reason doesn't show up on the main screen, but it is here. So Andrew's also getting a skin. Dragon Forged, I think, is one we've seen before. Maybe it's a recolor. I can't remember, but I'm just kind of flicking through them here to make sure that there's none. Genuinely been recording here for about 2 hours and my voice is just absolutely shredded. I was going to divide it up. I changed my mind. I decided to do it all here just in this one big video. And if you have enjoyed it, if you want me to do more stuff like this, leave a like. I'd really do appreciate it. And if you share the video around, that's even better, because Paladins in Season 6 and 2023 is sizing up to be very interesting, and I hope more people come back to the game, because so far it seems like player counts and stuff are up, at least temporarily, and people just in general a little bit more positive around the game, because I feel like people have been very negative for a very long time. It's finally sort of changing a little bit. Seems like this is also a new one, new Jenos skin. I'll show this off as well. Seems like it's just a recolor of standard Jenos because the weapon's the same, the effects are the same, but as like a human form, so we'll show that off as well. I also show the recolors, like I said, in a minute, but yeah, Paladins is seemingly going in a good direction, which I'm happy to see. There's also a whole new Pip skin, Inventor Pip. This one looks sick. This looks like a retro Paladin skin. I love this. We'll show this off also here in a minute. There's so many that aren't on the menu screen. It's like 3 now, right? Andrew's one though, I sadly can't show you because it didn't let me actually unlock it. But what else have we got here? Trying to remember all of the ones. I remember Pip was one, Inventor Pip, so we'll go ahead and grab this and take a look at it. The effects for this one are actually different. Okay, yeah, this is just a whole new skin for Pip. I'm really liking this. Very different from, I feel like, all the other ones we've had for him for quite a while here, but here's a look at Inventor Pip. We've got the Q. Does seem like the effects on this one, again, just like the rest of them in this update, aren't that crazy, but I don't feel like you can really complain because of how goddamn good this skin looks. It may be a little bit funny with this emote, but go ahead and pop the ult. They actually turn into Realm Royale chickens. Am I right with that? Wait, why the hell are they Realm Royale chickens? That's really thrown me off. That one I really wasn't expecting. Now I'm trying to remember if this is like an old Pip skin that I've just completely forgotten about, but okay. Yeah, if it's old, I don't remember it being in live, so here's a look at it anyway. I suppose we'll do the ultimate one more time just to make sure I'm not like losing my mind here. Those are definitely the chickens from Realm Royale. Okay, moving on to human Jenos, so I suppose your Jenos without the mask. This is just a recolor as far as I can tell. All the effects, or maybe tweaked a little bit in color, but are basically the exact same as his normal ones. There's the right click. Yeah, there's the ultimate standard Jenos, just in more human-like form. And finally here for the recolors of the one from the battle pass. I really like this weapon way more. It seems like the effects are still purple. Maybe they'll change that. I kind of was hoping they would be more black and red because they would fit a little bit more with the vampire theme, but the colors are the same, so they're probably going to be the same for Seris, which is a bit of a shame because that one really should be like atomic red. The green also fits. This one, yeah, I guess this one makes sense. Sort of, there's a green thing. Still, maybe more yellow would have also been kind of cool, but the effects are the same color. Is fine, but it's always nice if they change it. That's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching and staying all the way till the end of the video. It's been probably a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but if you stay all the way till the end, you're a real MVP. Spread the good word of your boy FrostFangs, all that other YouTube stuff that people ask you to do that I'm sure you know and are tired of at this point. I'll see you all very soon, and as always, stay frosty.